Hello everyone. Today we're going to look at reading from a CSV file. So here I have a template standard boilerplate that we're going to use here to build this function, this method, this module here. So we're going to create a method that does reading from a CSV file. So this function will take in the file name and then return the data that it received as a list. So that's the first thing we're going to explore here. So let's define that list that we're going to return. We have an empty list here. So that's going to be what is receiving all the data as we're reading from the CSV file. If you haven't seen the previous video, I recommend you go back and watch that, how we write to a CSV file. But just a quick overview as a to make this video more standalone. So a CSV file is a comma separated values file. So it has a header row which says what each data is in each column. And then below that we have just the data itself. So you have station, timestamp, temperature. So this is some weather data. These are California codes from the National Weather Service. Don't worry about that if you don't know what I'm talking about. And then this is the timestamp and just some random temperature data. So this is the structure of a CSV file. So we're going to read from that structure here. So the first thing we want to do is open the file. And we're going to do that with this open method. The with statement is also important because it allows us to close the file once we're done using it. So I'll explain that again in more detail in a minute. So with the open method, this standard library open method from Python, we take in the file name. So this is just going to be a string with the file name. And you also need to put in the directory too. We're assuming the same directory, so we don't need to put in the exact folder location, but usually you would need to include that. Then we have this R tag in single quotes. That says we're going to read. So we're using the open method to read a file. And then just as a precaution, we do a new line empty string to help the method run on different operating systems and just more in general. Then we do as CSV file. So this is the file object that we're gonna send to our CSV reader. This import CSV. We're gonna send the file to the CSV methods that will read from that file. So this is a pretty important structure. Recall from the last video on this one, with means that we open the file and everything, the file's open for as long as we're indented, but once the indentation breaks, the file closes. So that's the usefulness of this with keyword here. So I just put pass to make Python happy, but we're going to replace that with a reader object here. So CSV reader, and then it takes in the file that we just opened. So this line 15 here opens the file. We send that open file into the CSV reader method. Now the reader object has the file. It's ready to start reading the file. The first thing we'd like to do is just skip the first row, because the first row, that's what next here will do. This skips the first row. We just want the data. If you want the first row, you might capture that if you want to, but we're going to just skip it for now and read only the data. And then we do a little for loop here for each row in reader. So this is going to loop through each and every row and give us the data for that row. And for each row, we're going to append the data to data list, because it's going to return the data to us as a string. So we get the data as a string and we add it to this data list here. Excuse me, I'm pretty sure it's a list of lists. Excuse me. And then this function can create a lot of errors. So we're gonna put inside of it. We're gonna encapsulate this entire method here, this with statement. Everything here we're gonna put inside of a try block, because it's very common for reading files to create some errors. And then we'll do an except block here. we'll do two different exceptions. We'll do a very specific files not found exception, and then we'll do a general exception for just any CSV file error. These are maybe the file that you're reading isn't formatted correctly, so that would trigger this right here. So we'll just print that out as an F string and just say an error occurred while reading this file name, and then we will just display the error as is. And I needed to put this inside of the for the F string, this needs to be inside of the quotes. And then for file not found, we'll just say this file is not found. Another F string, so we can put it in text file. CSV file name is not found. And then that's all we need for the method here. And then to read the data, we're gonna run this method. So remember, this method takes in a value. Oh, and then we need to return the data. Return data list that we've been populating. So this method will read from the file. So we send in the file name, and then we get the data back. So we'll call that read data. Read from CSV file, and then here is where we put in the file name, which is right here. That's the file we're going to read. I was trying to refactor. Yeah, we can just copy the name right here to prevent typos. So the exact file name there, we know we have no typos. And then we'll just loop through it and print it. Then for each row in our file, we will print that row. And this should give us what we expect. So we can show our CSV file here. We'll run this and we'll compare. Data being read, you see KPFR. Yeah, so we see the data matches exactly as you would intend. And if we want to run our old CSV file right here, we can change the data up and then run this file, and we'll see it matches the changes too. Perfect. So that's all you need to run a CSV file, read a CSV file. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.